All right, so we'll go ahead and start by introducing our speakers that are on the line currently. If you would like to just kind of go around and say a little bit about yourself and your background.
All right, why don't we start with Larry? Larry, are you on? You are on. I know you're on. Okay. He's not muted, is he?
I don't believe so. He might have.
All right.
Out,
well, he's sort of getting his phone unmuted. Is Kathy Sell on? We can start with Kathy.
I certainly am. Are you able to hear me okay?
Well, I can hear you great. Go ahead.
Excellent. As you stated, my name is Kathy Sell, Director of Marketing here at Atomic Learning. We've been involved in SIA for quite a few years and are proud winners of CODiE Awards this past year in a number of categories. So happy to be on the call.
And I think Larry was bumped back to presenter, so he should be able to speak now. Maybe not.
Larry, are you there? Okay, and I don't think we heard yet from Amy, so perhaps what I can do is let's go ahead and if somebody does come on, when Larry does come on, we can add him.
Absolutely.
I'll start, just you see my picture there, Karen Billings, and I run the Education Division, and I've done that for almost 11 years now. So I'm very, very pleased that we are launching this award season and look forward to, I've been reviewing judges and working with Angel to answer questions about the categories that you want your product to be in and all kinds of things. So for those of you who are interested in either the New York conference or San Francisco conference, I'll certainly meet you there. And I'll turn it over to Angel to introduce herself.
Yes, I apologize if I speak a little softly. I will keep in mind to speak up. My name is Angel Scott. I am the CODiE Awards Coordinator. I am new at SIA. I recently came on the team at the tail end of the 2013 awards. So that was back in March, and I will be running, and I'm excited for the upcoming 2014 CODiE Awards. This will be my first full process, so far so great, and I enjoy it. I came from the aviation industry. I ran a portion of that awards program, which is quite different, and the marketing there. So today we will be going through the process of how to nominate. You will hear from the presenters about tips and tricks of how to nominate and what's new for the 2014 process. So let's see. Amy said she was joining, so let me check to see if she has been able to get on.
Can you hear me yet?
Yes, I can hear you.
Sorry about that.
Yes.
I was playing with the mute to *6, and apparently I went over to Syria.
Okay. Oh, I hope not. So, Larry, tell us about yourself.
Well, I'm the online instructional designer and system specialist here at Southwestern College in San Diego, just south of San Diego. I've been in education for about 30 years, and currently my career has taken me into online and learning management and a lot of the distance education arenas where I do a lot of consulting with other colleges and universities across the country. And I have a lot of fun, and so far I really enjoy it. I thoroughly enjoyed my participation in this awards last year. So that's about it.
All right, thank you. All right. Is Amy on yet?
Amy is not on yet.
Okay, so I think we should
go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, and I think we should talk about the CODiE Awards that the things that we're going to cover today.
Indeed, yeah, I've covered those. So let's just go ahead and start with the benefits of participating. So there are many benefits to participating, but the two that really stick out is the feedback that you receive on your product from educators. So when you submit your nomination, it is reviewed by judges, and the judges provide feedback about your nomination. So there you can see the benefits and what they liked and things that you might want to work on as well. So you get a wide variety of feedback from each of your judges. Also, the visibility on potential educator users, they get to see and demo your product. So you really have that one-on-one connection with people. So what's new for this year? This year, Karen and her board worked together to spruce up the categories and go with the trends, and Karen is going to further discuss the new changes of the 2014 categories.
All right. So the first thing that we did was we looked at several categories, and we needed to, because they were so popular and actually pretty diverse, we divided them into categories. Last year that happened with personalized learning. We started out with personalized learning solution, and we got so many entries and such a diversity of entries that we divided it first into two, for best K-12 and best post-secondary, and that's what we went with again this year. We also, the same thing happened with the collaborative and online solutions, and those are the, for social media, we divided it up into those that are designed for educators and those that are designed for students. We added a brand new category called the Education Cloud-Based Solution, which isn't just a direction now that a lot of our education companies are going. The other that we divided into two was game-based curriculum solution and learning game. We had just a game or simulation, and they were everything from a short learning game, which maybe took a few minutes, to a more long-term comprehensive solution that was game-based. So you'll see those two. We added two other brand new ones, and one is project-centered learning solution, because there are so many different sort of technology-focused but yet given project-based inquiry methods, something that we decided we wanted to do. And the other one was because of the increased use of video, we have a video to support student learning new category, which I think will draw a number of new companies that could be of interest. We updated several. One last year, again, we had sort of the best sort of mobile solution, and that we got everything from internet solutions that people could access on their laptops down to mobiles. But this year, it has to be an actual app that's set on a mobile device. So that will somewhat restrict the candidates, but I think it will probably be of interest to everybody developing specifically for mobile. And then the other is that we changed our sort of our management solution to best campus academic management solution. It's more of a name change, but I think it's more current as a result. So we'll go now to some of these the CODiE Awards. I think back to Angel on how to nominate.
Yeah, nominating is simple. You go onto our website and you select the category that best appropriately fits your product. And if you have questions or concerns about not sure where you fit or need any assistance, Karen and I can definitely assisting you in finding that appropriate category that you fit in. Once you select the category or categories that you think that you fit in, you go on to that link, which is the nomination application, and you just fill out the application. That is as easy as it gets. So we will move on to the different categories that we offer. So the education division this year has 28 total categories. Last year we had 25, and also we have 3 overall categories. The overall categories you don't have to nominate in. Those are you automatically are nominated in those categories. Those are selected based on different categories, so different categories fit in the overall categories. And those winners are announced on site, and the score is determined by who is, how do I explain this? Who is the winner overall has the highest score. I think I may have not explained that exactly correct. So let's see. Okay, so we will move on to pricing. Pricing this year has been the same as last year, which is good. The more categories you nominate in, there is some discount, so pricing this year is the same. We also offer a join and save program, so if you become a member, you get a free nomination, and that can also be an option if you're looking to nominate and join and take advantage of our other perks. All right, so from there we will move on to the timeline. This is the overall timeline this year for the 2014 CODiE Awards. Currently we are in the nomination phase, and after nominations close, we will start the first phase of judging, and I, throughout this entire webinar, will walk through that process. This year, after the regular deadline ends for nomination, we have an extended period. There you can still nominate your product up until October 4th. However, there are increased fees associated with nominating. So nominations close Friday, September 20th. We're a little more than a week and a half away from that deadline. And this deadline is a little earlier than it was last year, so just be aware of that. First round of review about the judges. The judges are industry experts. They are educators in this particular field. And perhaps, Karen, you can explain a little bit more in depth about who the judges are.
Well, as it says, the judges are the educators and administrators. We work with a number of professional associations and the education media, and a lot of partners to reach out to these educators. They are sometimes members of these associations, or they're readers of some of these media, and we invite them to apply. They fill out an application, and then we review them. And if they have the right background, the right expertise, the right sort of fit for the categories that they said they would like to judge, then they are approved. It's a great experience reviewing them. I get to know a lot of new people. One of the interesting things that happened last year was that we had a number of judges apply from other countries. The word gets out, and as you know, the Internet is global, so people found out about it, and we added them as an additional judge for each of the categories. But they were coming in from Abu Dhabi and from London and from Doha and Qatar and Barcelona. They had excellent qualifications. They had the expertise that was just absolutely perfect. And I think as a third judge in many of the categories, it worked out quite well. So we will be looking for judges starting, well, we've started now. We've already approved, I think, 60 or 70 judges or more, and we'll be approving more the rest of today because I do owe some of that back to Angel. But people will be judging in those dates that you see there between November and March. And do you want to, Angel, talk a little bit more about how they work with the companies?
Indeed. So after nominations close, I then look at the company and look at the judges, and I work with Karen to pair judges and nominations together. Once we figure out a good fit for the nominations and judges, I then send out the judges to the nominees and the nominees to the judges. I send out their contact information to one another. For education, their information and judges will be assigned by November 13th, so you will know who your judges are and what your product is. So from November 13th to March 21st, this is the time where the judges judge the product, or you schedule demos, or you grant them access to the materials to review, and you really just work with your judge during that time. If for any reason you cannot get a hold of your judge, or anything is different about the situation, you can contact me and I will work with you and your judge to reach a common ground. Demos, you can schedule demos for your judges to view the product or create logins for them. How it works, if you need more information, you can contact me directly, or we have a section on our website that covers the process of judging. All right. The next set of slides is more tips and tricks on how to create your product to make it more enticing for the judge and how to better work with your judge. And I invited Larry and Kathy to speak more on this since they have background knowledge. So Larry, if you'd like to start off with a couple of tips and tricks.
Sure, I'd like to do that. And I really have to apologize. For all of my expertise and everything, our college network is down, so I can't see the web presentation. I'm only on here by phone. So I apologize for that. And I also want to thank, I really want to thank Angel and Karen for inviting me back to do another year of judging for this competition, because doing what I do for the years that I've done it, then I've had an opportunity to be involved in many competitions and things like this, and I really need you to know, I'm not kidding when I say that this is probably one of the most professional run and one of the most engaging and encouraging competitions and things I've ever had a chance to be a part of. So I really enjoy what happens. Now, I was trying to think, there's so many tips and tricks that I learned from last year, and I think I ended up doing 25 judgings for it, so I got my feet wet, very wet, in being able to do this. And what I found is that a couple of things really came out when I was trying to recreate the situations. Is that contacting the nominees prior to the demo was really important for me, because it reached out to them and let them know that as a judge I was really interested in making sure that this demonstration was going to be done professionally and done on time, and so I reached out and I continued to communicate with them. Also, when you get your demo time set up, be sure that you reconfirm with your nominees the demo times and what time zone that they're talking about. Because I'm over here in San Diego for the Pacific time zone. I talk and work with demos with nominees all across the country, and so we need to make sure that those are all correct. The other thing that I found that really helped me was to set the procedures for asking questions during the demo, and we do that before the demo starts. So I ask, how do you want me to ask questions? Do you want me to wait until the end? Do you want me to do it while the demo is in place? And if so, what I did was I had a keyword that I said during the demo, which meant that I had a question I wanted to ask at their next convenience, so I wouldn't interrupt them in the middle of doing a real important part of the presentation. I didn't want to interrupt that continuity, so I would say the keyword, and then when they reached a point where it was appropriate for them to stop, then they would stop and we'd go through the questions, and I found out that worked really well. So the other thing that I found from working with other judges too is that it's really important to not get so wrapped up in what the product is that they're demonstrating, to let it turn into a technical training class. As a judge, you're there to observe the product and to evaluate the product and how it applies to your category, but you're not really there to learn how to use the product in such a way that it sounds like that the nominee is teaching you how to use their product. Now, you're going to get a little bit of that anyway, but don't let it turn into a technical training class. That is a great allure while you're listening to some of these great products. And the other part that I found was to be friendly and be congenial and, build a rapport with your presenters. But also remember, too, that these people have a lot at stake for this competition, so you want to stay professional, and so you don't want to become too informal. You want to stay professional enough to build a rapport and walk them through and help them feel encouraged and confident about what they're doing. And that's about all I have for right now. I know we're limited on time.
Yeah. And Kathy, would you have anything to add to that as well?
I would just support what he just said about the technical demo piece and say, from a vendor standpoint, really think about who on your team is going to be delivering that. I've myself in a marketing position, certainly I could provide that demo to the judges, but really our sales manager or one of our lead sales team members is going to do a much better job, and that's who I connect with when it's time for those judge reviews. And I think that gives them really a real-world application of how the product will be used versus that technical, here's how to navigate through it type of a demo.
Indeed. Okay, so moving on to how finalists are selected. Judges use a rubric to score the product. I included an example on the next slide of what the rubric looks like. It's not on a 1 to 5 scale, so it's a little bit more meaty and in-depth. The judges' scores count for 80% of the overall score. In the second phase, we ask our members to vote, and they count for the 20%. All nominees will be notified via email. Whether you move on to the next round or not, you will be notified and you will get an email from me directly. Again, if you want to request feedback about your product, you can email me directly and I can send that to you. I'm more than happy to do so. So here is an example of what the judges look at when they are scoring your product. The product is scored, or your nomination is scored against the criteria. So it's not scored against other products in the category. We really try to stick to the criteria and the product, and that is what the judge is looking at. So once the judges judge the product and they submit their feedback, the finalists are announced on March 31st. And then again, that's when you would receive the email from me. Benefits of being a finalist, I email you directly, but the overall benefits are we submit a press release with the finalist to our contacts. You receive basically recognition in the industry. We also provide a template press release for you to use along with a photo or a logo for your website or your emails. I've seen them, and a couple people do use those in different companies. So those are just a little bit of the benefits, and that's also on our website as well. So once we announce the finalists, we send out the finalists to our members. The members then vote during April 7th through the 18th, and they look at the product, and again, they count for 20% of the overall score. Once we get those in, we announce the winners at the gala dinner in May at the EdTech Industry Summit in San Francisco. So that is that. And the benefits of being a winner. You receive, again, industry-wide recognition. We send out a press release. You're in blogs. You are also mentioned in newsletters. We give you a winner logo for your website. A lot of media. We also send out tweets, LinkedIn messages to everyone, our members, and other contacts as well. Also, once you receive your award, you walk off stage. You get a video. You're videoed. Why do you think you won the CODies? How did you do it? Along with photos, and we send those to you as well. And this year we are unwrapping the Mini CODiE Award. The Mini CODiE Award is a smaller version of the larger CODiE Award, and it's for teams, and it's a little bit more inexpensive, so it's just something we're doing. So we are moving on to the logos of last year's winners. And that's basically how the CODies work, and this is who went through the process last year and succeeded and introduced a good product. And I don't know if Karen, you have anything to add, or anybody else?
Well, I think that, first of all, the companies that you see on that screen are really strong companies in many different ways. Some are new, some have been around for quite some time. What's interesting to me is when you look at all of these logos is the diversity of size and of their functions. Some people are focused on higher ed, some are focused on K-12, some are focused on learning management systems and enterprise software, some are focused focused on social networking. Some are curriculum and a little bit of everything else, like Pearson and McGraw-Hill. They sort of stand out. They have a lot of products. What's interesting to me is that while they will nominate more products because they have so many more, the products, being from Pearson and McGraw-Hill, and I don't know if anybody is on the line from those two companies, but it tends, it can work against you as much as it works for you because you do have the brand recognition, but there is something about a new company, innovative product that seems to do pretty well. They like new products. They like finding out about new products, and they stand just as much chance as someone from a larger company that has a lot of materials to share and a lot of research to back it up. So, don't worry about who else you might be competing with. We can just make sure that we get all of the right judges for you. As I was saying, when we get these judges, they will tell us who they would like to judge. But for those, for example, if they said they want to judge social studies or science, etc., we assume and will only select those that are either social studies teachers or social studies coordinators, or they may be at a college of ed, but their focus is on training social studies teachers and the social studies curriculum. It's really sort of fun. It's almost like a giant Sudoku puzzle where I've got a content category and I've got a set of judges, and I need to make sure that there are enough there so that their combined efforts will produce some really good feedback for you.
Also, if you are not interested in nominating but want to partner with us in promoting the CODiEs and the overall program, we have 2 partners so far with the Education Division, and we have several partners with the other divisions. But these partners send out tweets promoting the CODiEs or talking to their networks of people, and it's been fairly successful this year, and I think that we are doing well. So if you're interested in not nominating, but want to still be involved, this is a great way to be involved, and we'd be happy to have you. So that concludes our webinar, and if you have any questions, I am more than happy to answer them. I put my email in the chat box, and it's also on the screen. But that is all that I have.
Yeah. And I just wanted to make a note. Somebody asked about how many people typically nominate the category, and it totally varies. We've had as few as, I think, 7 or 8 one year in either a very new category, or usually not new, but it might be post-secondary enterprise or something, where there's just not as many companies in that area. Last year when we had, I want to say it was close to 80 nominations in personalized learning, we quickly divided that up into several different categories so that people stood a reasonable chance of getting to a finalist stage, because we needed to make sure that as much as possible, judges were looking at products that were as sort of close as possible. Personalized learning is one of those phrases now where a lot of people think they have personalized learning products, and therefore there's so many products. And this can also vary. Some may say, well, we have a way of providing resources to any type of child, or we have an adaptive curriculum engine or an adaptive assessment engine. And each of those are aspects of a personalized learning category, but not necessarily complete enough. So when you do look at the category itself, and I think I'm going to go back to the categories there for a minute. I think those are, yes, all of the categories. And there is the URL for going to those categories. We will do our best to make sure that you have a chance to be a finalist there as much as possible, by making sure that there's a fair number of people looking to be that. second round, as you know, will be our members who will be judging. But again, one person from each company gets to review the products and rate them. So one person from Pearson, or one person from Apple or Google or McGraw-Hill will get to vote, and one person from our very smallest company, which could be a company, a startup that has 1 or 2 people in it. They each have equal say in moving the finalists up to winners. There is only one winner, although we have had ties in some of the categories. We typically will have 1 or 2 ties a year. And so we give out 2 CODies. You'll notice also that there are 3 categories there. What happens is that many of the products then are eligible for, say, the best PK-12 solution. So we take all those that are really designed for best PK-12, and we look at those scores, no matter the category, and they then are in the running for the best PK-12 solution. And the same thing is true for best post-secondary. And everything with a post-secondary in the title will be eligible for the best post-secondary solution. You can't nominate for them, but it is sort of a roll-up. And then we look at everybody's score, and whoever got the best score in any category is going to be the winner in the Best Education Solution. And it's sort of like the Best Picture Award at the end of the Academy Awards or something. It's very exciting, and it's a great deal of fun. Let's see. Linda has a question about when the members vote, do they get on and use the nominated products or vote based on the judges' reviews? They don't, when the members get on to vote, they can go in and look at the products because they get the same information. They're going to be looking at 20-some products, though, so they probably don't spend as much time, in all honesty, as the first-round judges. The first-round judges are expected to spend a considerable amount of time, and they only judge 3 to 5 products because we want them to spend time on each product. So we, you won't get as much of a review there, but they won't know the judges' review or the comments. They are doing it sort of from scratch, and they're really looking at the same rubric and the same kinds of guidelines that the other judges get. The educators and administrators who judge, when we look at their scores, I think Angel mentioned this, their scores are heavily determined, not only determine the finalists, but they also are very, very important in the final score. Anything else, Angel?
One thing I had to add is another benefit is I have a lot of inquiries, or I receive a lot of inquiries about the winners. People who are looking for a new product want to know and come to me concerning who won in the product, like in that particular category, and they're looking for the best product. So that, I would say, is another added benefit of winning and being a finalist. They want to see who ranks at the top among their peers in those particular fields. So.
Okay. So Janine has a question about, as a member, they don't really have access to sign in on the actual product. They only get to see the links provided through the nominations. If the product requires a password, I don't know the answer to this, Angel. Do they get the password so they can go in and look at the products?
I believe so. They are emailed out the passwords, and they are able to read the material and review the material that way, as opposed to the judges before who get like the in-depth demos. They get to review more so the materials. So yes, they do read the materials, and they get a password to log in and look around.
Okay. All right. All right. Let's see. Were there others? I'm trying to. Yes, John asked about whether or not members were going to be playing with the demo environment or voting or just reading materials. They'll do either depending on the amount of time that they have. Some of them really are good at that, and they really want to give a fair share. And particularly, if it's a competitive product or something, they'll really want to take a good hard look at it It's one of the advantages of, I guess, being a judge. Particularly the educators and administrators who judge say that this is the way that they find out about new products and find out about sometimes new versions of products that they're already using.
I can agree to that.
Good.
I will actually have to, since I'm new and I'm starting to go through this process for the first time, I will look more in depth concerning the member voting, and I can send that out in the email as well, the very nitty-gritty details of that.
Yeah. And things like this have changed over the years, so I may have responded to something today based on what it was like 5 years ago, and we could have changed the situation. Because each year we do try to have a better CODiE judging and nomination experience. Any other questions down here? And John has one about, so if a competitor is a member, are they going to be able to get into the system? It's going to depend on how much access that you want to give, for one thing. You do want to give the educators and administrators as much access as possible so they really get to know the product, because they could be a potential customer and they certainly want to dig into it so that they can give you a really good review. I think the situation is going to be slightly different when it's the voting members at that stage at the very end. All right, so if there are no other questions, Larry, did you have any last-minute thoughts for somebody that you'd like to jump in?
Nothing really, except that I just wanted to restate how impressive being a part of this program is, because I've, out of all the things that I've done, this is probably one of the most impressive programs that I've been involved in. And if you're going to be a judge or a nominee, whichever way, there's so much that's going to enrich not only yours but your institution's life by being a part of this. So go get them.
And I do want to answer Linda Paulson's question. She asked, so the rubrics that the judges are going to be using to score the products, are they standard regardless of the category? And each rubric is customized, developed for each category. They're very different. Some are a little more similar than others, because if you're talking about content categories, there's some things about the instructional process and whether or not it's aligned to the current standards and things that are common attributes of many of the content categories. So there'll be some similar parallel ones, but each rubric is very much developed for that for each category. Sometimes I have to start from scratch, and sometimes, for example, to be honest, when we developed our new category around the cloud service, I actually went over to the other divisions which we have who have cloud products, and they have a number of cloud categories. So I looked at what they were asking, and there, of course, are some similarities. If it's a good cloud product, there are certain things you expect it to do. But I then wrote that for education. We spent quite a bit of time. In fact, Angel remembers last couple of days when these rubrics were due, I needed some extra time because we had so many new categories. And it takes a long time to develop a good rubric. I know the educators appreciate that, and I do think that the nominees do as well, because the better, as long as these rubrics are designed really specifically for the category, then the feedback that they are going to get is going to be more appropriate. Let's see. We tend to, Susan, not give out the rubrics per se for each of the categories, but they are based on the descriptions that you have. When you go to the CODiE categories, you will see descriptions. And within the descriptions, you will also see information there about, very specifically it'll say, these are the things that it's expected to do. And those are the top line pieces of the categories that I use to build the rubric. I think Angel, unless there are some others that come up here.
I think that's it.
Yeah, I think we're good. So I will, unless Larry has something that he'd like to add, or Kathy, do you have any last-minute comments?
Not for me. Thanks for letting me to be a part of this.
Okay.
Yeah,
I look forward to getting Larry's reviews in this year too. He, in fact, he had, he judged them well. He did a really great job of them. He got done relatively early. He actually came back and said, "Well, were there any other categories where you need help? Because I'll judge some more." We love those judges. Yeah.
Thanks, Karen, and I'll be sure to send you the check for saying those nice things.
Okay, great. But also then, so just in terms of the Education Division, which is only one of the 3 divisions that are participating in this CODiE Awards, I will sign off and say thank you for your time, and I'll let Angel have the last word.
Yes, no, thank you. This was actually my first webinar, so I thank you all for joining it and listening to me speak, and thank you, speakers, for participating. I hope to do more of them more frequently as the CODiE year progresses. So thank you again.
All right. Thank you.
Bye all.
Bye.
Thank you. Please stand by.